All right then. About time. Okay, so this is where I am. It's where I grew up. DC area or DMV. What's that called? The District, Maryland, Virginia, which is like there ain't nothing around here but federal government. There ain't no there ain't nothing here. Like trucks come in here empty. I mean full from everywhere. Delivering high dollar, we're like the richest people in the world, like one of the wealthy. This is like the wealthiest region of the world, but everywhere else, the other wealthiest places, they've got like all kind of industry and trade, and we got nothing but the federal government. Trucks come in here full of every kind of wealth from all over the world, 24/7. And ain't none of them leave with anything. Well, they used to leave with tax forms, full of tax forms to bring in all the money to buy all the groovy stuff. But now it all goes over the internet, which they invented, like right here, and CIA and all that. Uh, the internet. They, so So this is where I'm from. This is my fucking town, my town, and well, I'm going to tell a story that'll circle back to here, but not for many videos later. And I can see this video is going to be longer than I want, but whatever. So okay, so I'm gonna start out. I'm gonna give you a little. This is like going to Dunkin' Donuts. I'm gonna start out with a jelly fill, and go from there. But now, keep in mind, there's a whole donut shop full of different sprinkled ones, chocolate ones, powdered ones, fucking muffins, and coffee, espresso. It's like a shop full of all kind of stuff. I'm just going to start out with one jelly fill to just to get you like get your sweet tooth going, and then I'm going to use that as kind of a hook, or as a hook. To draw you in to listen to, and we're gonna go from like ancient times to Charlie Kirk's trial, real fast. Now, being as into intelligence, my level of information on related details is so wide that for me to try to sit here and bring receipts would be like, well, we it would take too well. I used to do that, and it does take too long because I mean the bigger thing is it's like, if I already know the stuff, but nobody else does, and then I unfold it in a way that I'm just giving you breadcrumbs, and you're gonna follow the breadcrumbs back to, you're gonna actually do the receipt looking, then it's like an archaeological dig. And where you get to like, wow, you're the first one, even though there'll be a whole bunch of people doing it together, y'all get to experience being the first one. Is like, you know how cool it is to go to a museum and see some crap some cool thing they dug up from thousands of years ago that nobody had seen or even knew, and it opened up a whole new angle on history. And you're looking at it in the museum with, like, millions of other people that go to the museum. But what if you're the guy who dug it up and you realize what you found, and you're like the only one, and what everybody's going to freak out about it. See, that's why I'm giving you the location of the archaeological, because and I can't sit down a long time anymore. I've sat down too long doing this stuff, and now I got like hip problems and stuff, and I can't say, but I can. I was like, okay, but I can give you enough to go, like to blow your mind, and you're like, oh man, this guy's whack as crack, man. But you go, okay, I'm just gonna look in it, I'm gonna prove he's whack, and then you're gonna go digging in and go, oh my God, he's right about that. Yeah, but still, oh my God, he's right about that. Oh my God, he's right about that. Well, he kind of got that one a little sideways, but I can see what he's saying, and eventually you're like, holy crap, and then you're like, whoa, and then you go searching and you ask AI, and it's like, ain't no one saying this stuff. I'm the first one to be, like, he ain't lying. So anyway, let's go to Mecca in Saudi Arabia. Mecca, Saudi Arabia. Okay. Now let's do a distance line. Measure distance. Little dot right there. Okay. Now let's go to Moscow. Now look what happens when you click it. Oh, distance to here. Okay. You get a line, see? See how the magic works? It's like I'm Merlin or something, Like, man, this guy, he knows everything, man. Okay, yeah, but now go down here. Look at that. See, Medina. The line. It goes right through Medina. Like, this is supposed to be where Mohammed grew up and shit and stuff. And then he built his little cult and stuff, his little, his first group of people, and they threw him out. Get your whack as crack, man. They chased him off, and then they went to Medina, and then everybody, oh yeah, everybody's, a lot of people joined the cult, and they got all big and stuff, and then they started spreading out and went back down to Mecca and took that over, and okay, but when you connect that line to Moscow, it goes right through Medina. Like, so what? What is Moscow got? Wait a minute. Yeah, you got it. You got a mosque. Moscow. Well, that's kind of weird, but it's like, right. But this guy, listen to the way he talks, he's one of them crazy guys. He come up with anything. And you got a point there. I'll give you that. Ain't nobody that knows me wouldn't agree with some level of that. You know what I'm saying? But that's going this is not the only line I got like this. I mean, like now they say Mecca ain't Mecca. It's not the Mecca from the Quran. It was built later. Which I mean, Moscow was not like some center of trade. It wasn't a likely candidate for a capital. As far as like more likely would have been like down here on the whatever this little sea is, on the Black Sea or Crimea, but off up here in the swamps, But it was like it's where they got chased to by the Mongols, and they were able to defend themselves from inside the swamp. To make to make a deal to get left alone to pay the Mongols to not kill them all and shit and stuff. So you've got an unlikely capital here, and Mecca is like not. It's in the middle of nowhere. Part of the evidence is that it's not the original Mecca is because the Quran says Mecca is like this lush paradise that Muhammad grew up in eating figs off of trees and olives or whatever, but there's no there's nothing around Mecca. There's nothing there, It's like so it could have been they both could have been placed to align with each other. If you had a game if the world was being laid out like a chessboard by, let's just say you had like the earliest empire builders have been playing a game with manipulating mankind from the beginning to now. That's where I'm going with all this. I'm going to show you the people behind it all and how they and there's a whole bunch of other there's lines like this, like from the original, like there's a line that points to where Mecca really was and where Islam really grew out of. They go right through Medina too, and then there's lines that go from Moscow to somewhere else to somewhere that connect to like, this is wild. And we'll get to all that. But this is the hook. Okay? This is like, okay, let's hear what the guy. Okay, now let's go over here to, wait a minute, don't I already have that pulled up somewhere? I can't move that thing around? Oh, I guess not. This is my first time doing this, so bear with me or don't, Whatever they say. Whatever they say in Hollywood, I'm sure here we go. Okay. This guy, Bernard de Clairvaux. See, now this guy, he's the founder of Knights Templar, okay? He wrote the charter for the Knights Templar and he's a monk. And he wrote the charter for Knights Templar that got them made, that allowed them to become the first military branch of the Vatican. He got the Pope to say, oh yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Knights Templar, they're going to protect the pilgrims going to the Holy Land and all that. Because like the Muslims were, taking over the Holy Land, so they're like, man, we got to get people to go down there and settle, and we got to push the Muslim hordes back. That's our Holy Land, man. That's where Jesus and Moses, like that's the center of all this stuff, right? And so then Clairvaux, that's where he built his first monastery. So that was not his original title. See, his original name, let's see if we can find his daddy's name here. See, Bernard's parents were Tusculin de Fontaine, Lord of Fontaine-la-Dijon. Dijon. Okay? Which means his title was Bernard de Fontaine until he built Clairvaux, and it was like a big deal. He became the Cistercian order had took off at Clairvaux. It became like they were like the cornerstone of the Renaissance of architecture and farming and commerce, and they were like, they were the spear tip of not just going to the Holy Land to protect pilgrims and fight back the Muslim hordes, but they also were like the great awakening from the so-called Dark Ages for Europe. All this new all this new industry came from innovations and from the Cistercian order under Bernard de Clairvaux, previously known as Bernard de Clairvaux. Now, my name is Bobby Fontaine, or better known as Bobby fucking Fontaine. BFF. I'm your BFF. You're Bobby fucking Fontaine. And so, and I'm taught about this stuff as a kid. Like, we're the secret people. And this is our heritage type of stuff. Now, the Knights Templar, like, we're the bloodlines, but the original. Like, there's a bunch of other bloodlines that spin off, but we're like the Fontaines and shit. So anyway, and the Knights Templar now, they built they created the first banking fiat currency banking system that we still have today. And I don't mean just the kind of system, it's the same one. They founded it, and then the Pope and the King of France got together and chased them underground and killed a bunch of their leadership. But they escaped with their treasure. You've probably seen movie. You probably what's that movie called? I can't even think of the name now. But damn, can't. Okay, so anyway. They escaped with the treasure, and they kept their debt books in order, and they held on to a lot of the control they had over their massive industries and properties and debts. And it's the same system, like the King and Queen of France borrowed money for Columbus to sail to America. It's the same system that when George Washington and Hamilton created a one nation currency so they could enter into debt with the world bankers. That's the same world bankers that they all paid homage to, that they still pay homage to now. That was began by the Knights Templar and Fontaines. Now, and also the original Templars, they're all from Fontaine, France. Like, it was Saint Bernard. He got them made into an official order, but they were like all family members, relation from Fontaine's France. So and then they remained just this one tight-knit group for quite a while. I don't know. They went down and they stayed at Solomon's Temple, and they did some excavation underneath it, allegedly. There's a whole lot of you can look into stuff. Okay. Now, let's go to, let's do another window. So in case I want to pop back here again. Let's move this one to front center here. Oh, you can't see up there, can you? I don't think. Okay. Now let's look at. Can't spell worth a crap. Now let's look at Phoenicians. Okay. Now these guys, they're the first world traders. You know, they're like they conquered the seas. They're from like here's like, you know, the Holy Land, the Levant. I mean, well, that's down that's more down here, but this is all, you know, these are the guys that they built a lot of. They built the Solomon's Temple, Holy of Holies. They built stuff for Egypt. You know, they had where over here at where's Lebanon, man? They don't have it marked on here. Okay, but they're like Lebanon cedars, you know. There was like that was the wood. They had the wood because it don't rot and it's, you know. And so, but they traded all throughout the Mediterranean, and you know they went around and found out what everybody else was doing, learned all the other technologies, and they traded. You know, they would bring stuff here and stuff there, and technologies, and they would do much like the like Saint Bernard's Cistercians did. You know, is upscaling the existing technology, streamlining it, scaling it up for trade, and you know, adding on to it and coming up with their own. So they're largely credited with, you know, with founding civilization as a, you know, I mean, they had like the color purple, which they was like their color, and they made it. I mean, look it up. They made it from these snails, and it takes like a boatload of snails to make a little bit of this purple dye, that then, you know, if you got a purple robe, if you were allowed to pay a high price for one of their purple robes, it was a symbol. Like you're a tribal guy who's like, you know, selling, you know, you live in a region like got lots of walnuts or pecans or, you know, wine or whatever, you know, you make textiles, whatever it is you're into, and then you hook up with them and they get you all squared away. So, okay, now we're set up to do trade. You know, you got your whole city. The Phoenicians help them get their whole system in order and start growing them as an empire. And you reach a certain point where you get one purple robes. It's like a kingmaker. They you know, they're the ones that made all the kings around the Mediterranean and all that. So they're like the founders of civilization, world trade as we know it. And Phoenician is the name itself, and I will get around to proving all that. And you feel free to go to AI, and AI say there's no connection between Phoenician and Fontaine. It's like, right. Well, because, you know, if academics knew what I knew, then they would say, yes, there is. You know, it's like, well, of course there isn't. You're not supposed to be able to find that, not without the key. And I'm giving you the key. I'm going to show you how the key works, and then you'll understand. But Phoenician is a cognate of Fontaine. Okay, now I mean the Phoenicians invented the alphabet and phonics, and which was really just a very efficient way to keep track of stuff and trade, to keep track of books and goods and people and intelligence related to kingdom, you know, everything that we keep track of today in trade and nations and defense and all that stuff. But we know it more like, okay, but then people start writing books and religions and cataloging all their old mythologies. And I mean, that's why you got like, why does all the religions come right out of the same, of Moses and Abraham and all that? It's like, well, because the Phoenicians, they gave the alphabet to the Jews to be their land traders. These are the sea people, and then they come into ports and dump off their stuff and pick up stuff. But they need a people that know how to run their operations inland, and that's the Jews. That's the chosen people. So I mean, I'm just telling you, you'll see it all later. And so that they gave them the alphabet, they gave them the system to be able to do their work, and because they were like traders, they were already traders, so it was a natural fit. And so of course the Jew, they wrote down their stories first. And everybody else gets around to writing down their mythologies and their histories and their king's list and all that stuff. But it's coming after the Jews have got a big head start on everybody. So it was just that their mythos spread further and wider than everybody else's, and it became it was like a saga. It was like the first episode was Moses, the second was the Jews, the third was Christianity, like by the time everybody else is getting around to just getting their feet wet in the whole thing, we're already at Islam. They're already at Islam. So, it was the biggest one out there, the one God. But I mean, it's the one gold, the good. God is gold. It's the magic that allows civilization. It really is. I mean, but anyway. So, the phonics, but it goes to Fontaine. See? Fontaine. See here? Font. See, Fontaine. Fonttown. And we'll get all around to that. I mean, I'll prove that beyond all doubt later. Okay? So we've got the Phoenicians and the Fontaines, world trade, world banking system, the Jews, the land traders and the debt keepers and the managers for the king. It's like when they give you a purple robe, they also give you a handful of Jews with their little notepads, a little notepad. Like, okay, these guys are gonna be your accountants and your banker. Between the two of us and. Okay, so did I qualify that? I think yeah, I think I got that. Okay, now we're 28 minutes in. Let's see if we can do Charlie Kirk real fast. Which I don't think. I mean, I guess I can do Mitt Romney. But this is where you're going to start vetting your own. Because it gets too deep in the weeds. It'll take too long for us. You're gonna go, oh yeah, right, you're gonna look it up anyway. And so this way you'll be like, well, he didn't even cite sources. So he doesn't count. He didn't prove it. He didn't show no empirical evidence. So I can jump ahead of him and steal his thunder. It's like, yeah, do that. Because I got plenty. And it'll be more fun for you, less work for me, less sitting down, less hip problems. Okay. Okay, so let's look at let's search word search here. Mormon. Or maybe it'll be... Okay, so Romney's... Like, okay, Romney's running against Obama. He's going to lose against Obama. Everybody knows it. Let me make sure. See, this is the thing. I got so many facts that they get jumbled up, and I'm old anyway, but, you know. Okay, Romney, Obama. Obama. In 2008, both Mitt Romney and Barack Obama were involved in the U.S. presidential elections cycle, though they took divergent paths. So, and then I'm like, oh, that's later. But Romney was like the guy who came up with the model of Obamacare, that Obamacare, and he got it implemented. He's a Republican, and he got it implemented in Massachusetts, some kind of government-run healthcare system that he was going to, and then we got Obama, and he actually put it to use, and it was just crap. But anyway, so here's old Mitt Romney in 2008, and I was like, well, let's see who the hell this guy is. Well, actually, I said he's Mormon. I heard he was Mormon. I was like, oh, that's interesting. You know, that's different. So I looked it up, and it's like, he's like original. His family goes back to original Mormons, which I'd already looked at. I'd already studied before. It's got an insane history, going back to like Freemasonry and all this really lot of drama, man. Lot of it's quite a damn movie, if you know, but it's a quite exciting story. To you know, seem more fictional than anything else, but so you got me, and they go all the way back, and it's like Freemasonry, and then, you know, if you know your stuff, you know Knights Templar, Freemasonry, you know, I mean, and that's where I first came, you know, looked into Mormonism when I'm studying my own stuff, and so I was like, oh my God, he go all the way back. So then I was like, well, what's going on? There must be, like, knowing my background, I was like, there's got to be something crazy going on here. So I look into it, and I find out something about something called the White Horse Prophecy. The White Horse Prophecy is an 1843 document that purportedly records words spoken by Joseph Smith, the founder of LDS Church. It claims Smith prophesied that the U.S. Constitution would one day hang like a thread, and that members of the church, the White Horse, would step in to save it. Like, okay, so Mitt Romney is the White Horse. Well, he seemed like he's a limp, sickly white horse. You know, it's like Obama is gonna stomp him. You know, it's like, but I'm guessing there's people who think that Allah, you know, like Muslims think Allah is just gonna hand them the world, no matter how stupid a decision that would be. You know, and it's like, and a lot of people, man, on the right and the religious side of the country must think, you know, it's like, I don't know, maybe behind the things that's maybe that's what they think. That even though Obama is killing him, you know, good old God will reach down here and hand it to the White Horse Mitt Romney. Anyway, but somewhere along the way, I come across Oath of Vengeance. Oh yeah, it's a good thing. See, I didn't include the the window up here that I type into. I forget what they call it, but and I was like, oh, that's a good thing because I misspell a lot, so I don't look so stupid. But I guess it doesn't help if I tell everybody that. But anyway, I mean, I do if I'm writing like a long thing and I eventually fall into a pattern and I start spelling right. But anyway, if it's short stuff, it means I'm thinking more than I'm writing. Any goddamn way. Oath of Vengeance. Let's see if it gets it on that. Okay, let's go. Mormon Oath of Vengeance. LDS Oath of Vengeance. The Oath of Vengeance. Let's hit it in the AI mode so we can get a quick summary. The Oath of Vengeance, or Law of Vengeance, was a historical component of the LDS's Church's temple endowment ceremony enacted from 1845 to 1927, introduced after the 1944 murders of Joseph and Hiram Smith. It requires participants to pray and never cease to pray to Almighty God to avenge the blood of the prophets upon this nation. And I mean, and then I look into it. The irony is that they were both killed by rival Mormon factions. Like they were killed while they were in jail to kind of protect them, but to prevent a civil war among Mormons. Because because they were running around stealing everybody's wife. They were like, we're the head of the cult. We can have multiple wives. And then they run around and say, okay, your wife is my wife, and so they're getting everybody else's wives, and that led to all this infighting and them being killed. And then the U.S. government said, okay, we got to outlaw this this multiple wives thing. And then all the Mormons who wanted to keep multiple wives or believed in them or whatever, they fled. They went to Mexico, and the Romneys went with them. And they came up with this oath of vengeance to get even with the United States, even though like multiple wives was legal till they screwed it all up. Blah blah blah. So I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So then I'm like, okay, so let's dig into these now. And then you got like, okay, Mitt Romney, Arco, right? See? Aluminum. Let's see. Romney, member of the Republican Party, served as a mayor. Yeah, this is the guy, man. But isn't Arco? What is it? Oh, no, not Arco. Aluminum. What do they call that? Lobbying. Alcoa. Yeah. That's it. Okay, go back to Romney. Let's go to Alcoa. I don't remember a lot of stuff because I don't give a crap. Okay, so this Romney guy, he was in the auto in Detroit. He was a big auto guy in Detroit, And World War II came along, and so they converted his factory over to making planes and engines or something for fighters, and he came up with a way to make a lighter aluminum bodies for the planes, and then I think he came to D.C., became a senator or something like that, and then retired as like a the main Alcoa lobbyist in D.C., the head of maybe even like the head, Alcoa.